You've probably seen these headlines: "How I Retired at 30," or "The Secret of Financial Freedom That Banks Keep Quiet About." The FIRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early, movement promises a tempting prospect. If you save hard enough today and invest every penny, you can forget about work forever in 10 years. But here's the problem. Most of these tips are based on the so-called 4% rule, which was formulated back in the 90s of the last century. At that time, it was intended for classic pensioners who go on a well-deserved vacation at the age of 65 and expect to live on their savings for about 20 to 30 years. Today, in 2026, the old formulas no longer work. If you plan to retire at 35 or 40, your planning horizon expands to 50 or even 60 years. In such circumstances, the classic calculation of $1 million in complete freedom turns into a dangerous mathematical trap that can leave you bankrupt exactly when you will be most vulnerable. In this video, we will not draw rainbow castles. We'll take a calculator, dry data from the Federal Reserve System, and analyze why the concept of early retirement has become riskier today than working in an office. We will analyze how inflation eats up millions, why your home is not your retirement fund, and what amount is actually the new basic level of security. Let's turn to the numbers that usually remain behind the scenes of inspiring success stories. Most adherents of early retirement are guided by a capital of $1 million as a cherished finish line. It seems like a huge sum, guaranteeing a luxury lifestyle. However, in reality, $1 million in 2026 is just a basic level of security, not a ticket to the world of yachts and private jets. Let's do the math. If we apply the standard conservative withdrawal rule of 4%, or even 5% in an optimistic scenario, your annual budget will be between $40,000 and $50,000 before taxes. After paying taxes, compulsory insurance, and bills, you will have an amount that is almost impossible to live on in a large city, without denying yourself basic things. This is money for groceries, utilities, and insurance, but not for world travel. But there is a bigger problem: inflation. When planning for 40 to 50 years, even a moderate price increase of 3 to 4% annually turns your $40,000 into the equivalent of today's $15,000 in just a couple of decades. What seems like a comfortable income today will become a poverty line tomorrow. Many people feel financially secure when looking at their net worth. They count the value of their house, car, and possessions. But here's a shocking fact. According to statistics, about 7% of Americans are millionaires by net worth, but only 2.6% have $1 million in retirement accounts. Here lies the main analytical trap: confusing wealth on paper with real cash flow. Imagine two people. Person A owns a house for $900,000 without a mortgage and has $100,000 in savings. On paper, he's a millionaire. But in reality, he still needs a salary to buy bread, because the house does not generate income. It only requires maintenance costs. Person B lives in modest housing, but has $900,000 invested in liquid assets, stocks, bonds. With the same net worth, Person B can quit tomorrow, as his money creates a cash flow. The real retirement readiness is not the value of your property, but the effectiveness of your investment engine. Why does this cherished figure remain unattainable for the majority? The median savings of American households is only $87,000. Even for those over 50, this figure barely reaches $185,000. This is a huge gap between reality and the dream of $1 million. The main reason is a misunderstanding of the mechanics of capital growth. Many people believe that $1 million should be set aside from their salary, physically saving every dollar. But it's almost impossible. It's not your direct contributions that create $1 million, but time and compound interest. Let's look at the numbers. The investment portfolio in stocks has historically doubled every 7 to 10 years. This means that if you have $1 million in investments, in 7 years it can turn into $2 million. And in 15 years, it can turn into $4 million, even if you don't add a cent more. At the same time, real estate is growing by an average of 4% per year. $1 million house in the same 7 years will cost about $1.3 million. Is it useful? Yes. But it doesn't transform your life the way investments do. The second reason for the failure is lifestyle inflation. As incomes rise, People buy more expensive cars and bigger houses, increasing their fixed expenses. As a result, the investment capital simply does not have room for growth. The third reason is a mental block and a late start. People hear the number million and give up, considering it unattainable. But statistics show that even consecutive contributions of $500 per month at an average market return can lead to a seven-figure sum if given enough time to invest. The problem is not a lack of money, but a lack of patience and discipline during the quiet years of growth. If the classic FIRE scenario with drastic savings seems too extreme or risky to you, flexible models like the Coast FIRE are coming to the fore in 2026. The essence of this strategy is simple and ingenious at the same time. You don't need to save 2 or 3 million to just stop working one day and sit on the couch. You need to form an investment core as early as possible, an amount that will automatically turn into necessary capital by your official retirement age due to compound interest. Once this core is created, you achieve psychological freedom. You can stop aggressively saving 50 to 70% of your income and switch from an exhausting, high-paying job to one that you really enjoy, even if it brings in less money. You're just covering your current expenses while your capital is on autopilot building your future. This model solves two main problems of early retirement. 1. Social isolation. Leaving work abruptly often leads to a loss of meaning and structure of the day. 2. Fear of market crashes. If you have at least a partial income, barista FIRE model, you do not need to sell assets at the bottom of the market during the crisis. The analysis confirms that people who maintain minimal employment with basic capital feel 3 times more secure and happy. In an era of unpredictable inflation, your most valuable asset is not a stack of bonds, but your relevance to the labor market and your ability to generate income. The real freedom today is not the absence of work, but the absence of coercion and the ability to choose projects based on interest rather than salary. Let's summarize our research. $1 million is not a finish line or a magic happiness button. In the modern world, this is just a starting point, an initial level of security in the face of rising prices for medicine, housing, and education. The main trap of classical planning is the obsession with a beautiful number on paper. But your capital is not a trophy to show off. It's the engine of your life. Your task is not to be a collector of assets, but a competent engineer of this engine. True retirement readiness is determined not by your net worth, but by your flexibility, the ability to adapt expenses to market conditions, the ability to switch between sources of income and time, and a clear understanding that your home is a liability, not a tool for living on interest. Don't try to appear rich according to the old patterns. Strive to make your money work for you as hard as you have worked for it all these years. True freedom comes not when you stop doing something, but when you have the resources to do only what matters to you. Look at your accounts today, not as savings for a rainy day, but as the foundation of your future life architecture. Build a system that ensures your independence according to your rules, not according to the rules of bank brochures. After all, in the end, it's not how many millions you have in your account that matters, but how much life you can afford in every day you live. What amount of monthly passive income do you think would make you quit your current job tomorrow? Write your figure in the comments. Let's compare expectations and reality. If this analysis has helped you to look at your finances differently, subscribe to the channel. Here we look at the numbers that help you make the right decisions before it's too late. Build the system according to your own rules, not according to the rules of the bank tables. After all, it's not how many millions you have that matters, but how much life you have in each of your days.